Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. They say pirates are scum, and aside from space whales, they're the biggest danger out in the hyperspace lanes to regular folks like you and me. Parasites of the galaxy looking to make a killing at the expense of honest, hard-working spacers. They steal, they murder, they betray. Heck, some like Glurp over here is saving up all of his hard-earned money to purchase a glowweed farm. I mean, the gall of these guys. Really. But maybe we are missing something here. I mean, are these guys really the new main villains of the New Republic era? Or like many things in the galaxy, there are deeper mechanics at play. Economic and social factors that have created an entire profession that is neither as lucrative nor as exciting as you would think. Being a pirate actually sucks in the Star Wars galaxy. It's quite difficult. I mean, let's take a look at Captain Silva's last command. His pirates halted a bulk freighter of some kind. It's a relatively easy target, or so it seems. But if you think about it, ships like this are going to have defenses on board, exterior turrets, and a small contingent of crew who might have a stake in the cargo and are more than willing to hold a position with a blaster and kill as many pirates as possible. Or maybe they just don't want to be sold off into slavery to the Zygarians or become a spice miner for the Pikes. The point is, even the smallest, most lightly armored freighter is going to pose a problem for these pirates because they actually have to take the ship. They can't just blow it up, right? This is one of the most difficult and costly operations you can carry out. And even if Silva's pirates are, viciously aggressive and able to secure a very quick victory against these civilians, the pirates still end up losing how many crew members? A dozen at least, with many being gunned down at the point of breach. And then there's this dude on the zipline that gets hit by a defensive turret. There's no way this guy has any medical benefits if he even survived this incident. I'm pretty sure he didn't. And there's no money going to his next of kin because of his death, because this is a criminal organization. He's not in corporate security or in the military. And even if he had survived, there's really no guarantee he'll make money in any of these extremely dangerous operations. And you gotta think about it. I mean, how many times a month does a pirate have to go through these very dangerous situations to just make a living? The food doesn't really look free on Port Borgo, and as fun as hanging around with the boys at the pubs all day and getting drunk, talking about getting rich is, if I have to risk my life in close quarter, battle situations on the regular, either I'm making a lot of money or, I'm going to be questioning what my life choices are.
Good men's lives lost for a single measly credit.
So I get this mutiny. I get that Captain Silva's silver tongue has finally run out of his magic and his men are pissed. But if you listen to his, prior pep speech before they open that vault, it's clear things have not been good for some time. Maybe they were never good at all.
These cycles have been lean. Some of you have all but given up on me. Your good old captain. It's all forgotten now. Because at long last I brought you to the only thing that matters.
And so the life of a pirate does not sound very glamorous at all. How many of these guys actually get old or dead before they get rich? And because this is all for credits, well, it kind of makes these pirates relatable. Like, I get it. I also want credits in life. People who kill, steal, and murder for money, I can understand. It's the ones who create mayhem for, God or ideology, or because they just like violence. Those are the ones that I'm more worried about. Those are the ones that I think are quite dangerous in their own right. But the people who pursue money and credits, even if they are super greedy or just complete assholes, I understand, because credits are tied to everything in a galactic economy. In a capitalist, market-driven society, it's tied to freedom itself. And the health of the local economy really determines what kind of opportunities are there for people. And so what a person's profession is sometimes heavily depends on where they are in the galaxy and, what state their society is in. If you're from a rich town in the core regions of the galaxy, if you're smart and at the top of your class and very motivated, you'll go far in life. You'll have parents who can afford the finest of educations, who can mentor you and steer you in the right direction. And then you'll probably graduate into a very comfortable position. You'll know the culture of the elite because you grew up with them, and you'll have no problem starting your own family one day, buying that beautiful property with the view on the upper levels of Coruscant. You'll vacation on spa worlds like the luxurious Lanupa. Lanupa? It's easy for that individual to not be a pirate. It's a no-brainer. I mean, who would want to be a pirate if you can enjoy such luxuries anyway? But what if you aren't born in the core? What if you're from the Outer Rim? What if you're from a planet that's not aligned with any larger state? What if you're not Princess Leia but Luke? Then your opportunities are going to be limited. You might be smarter than the kid on Coruscant or Alderaan, but because there are no opportunities on your own world, you might as well just become a scrapper or something. Of course, you'll be really good at scrapping. You'll have an eye for valuable components that others leave behind, and you might make, 20-30% more than the average scrapper. But you can only do so much when you live on a planet whose GDP is, the equivalent of Mon Mothma's apartment on Coruscant. And so maybe you jump at the opportunity to take a low-paying job as a cabin boy on a merchant ship, just so you can leave. Or worse, you spend years as an indentured worker on a corporate freighter paying off your initial ride off your home planet. If you're sharp, and you keep your eyes open, you'll start to learn things about the trade. You'll begin to see the stars. You'll start to see opportunities, and eventually you'll understand the logistics and skills necessary to crew your own ship. But only if economic opportunities remain, if there is room in the galaxy for growth, for new transport routes, for new merchant ships to take goods along those lines. But if there's constant warfare like we see during the late Republic period with the Clone Wars and then the Galactic Civil War, which followed only a decade later, maybe there aren't that many opportunities. And so just like here on Earth during the Age of Sail, when there are limited economic opportunities, many merchant ship crewmen, ruffians from backwater worlds, turned away from what meager earnings they could make legally and tried their luck with a pirate crew, risking life, limb, and reputation for a chance at a relatively small fortune. Because they were robbing merchant ships after all. If you tried to attack a IGBC convoy, you're going to run into a lot of firepower, and usually pirates don't go after such targets. And so, it's a myth that most pirates become wealthy. Rarely did a younger or newer member of the crew get any share of the bounty. They had to prove themselves, and they were far more likely to die in the act of proving themselves as cannon fodder. The only real way to be wealthy is becoming a captain and running your own ship. In this more twisted version of our free market society, the rules are basically the same. You have to be an owner-operator to really make some decent credits. If you are just the labor, the crew on a pirate ship, you're kind of screwed. You only see piracy in countries where the government is completely broken down, and there's no state, there is no security forces anymore, and there are no economic opportunities. It's only at that moment do you see rampant piracy. Because of the intrinsic danger and difficulty of living this life, only at the intersection of great desperation, poverty, and also great wealth inequality does this ancient profession rear its ugly head. And in the Star Wars galaxy, when piracy starts becoming rampant, it's not always the individuals that are carrying out the actions that are completely to blame. Yes, they are wrong for being pirates. They should be stopped. I'm not against security forces cracking down on these guys, but there are deeper root issues if you actually want to stop a problem like piracy. There are much larger economic and social problems that are connected to all of this. Take a look at the individuals on Silvo's crew. They aren't exactly all murdering psychopaths. Yes, they are criminals, and many are far too greedy for their own good. But like I said, individuals like Glurp, they're trying to get out of this life. They have a plan.
Glurp, my friend. That glowweed plantation we all know you're saving up for.
That's what makes Captain Silva the rightful leader of this group. It's his intimate understanding of what each one of his pirates is going through. They like him because he humanizes them. He speaks and wax poetic about their dreams, and that makes their dreams seem all that more likely. Captain Silva can remind him of why they chose to do this job, this profession in the first place, and suffer so much. There's also a bit of a populace in Captain Silva, and I think Brutus was really stupid to even let him speak at all. They should have just executed him immediately, because this guy's tongue is definitely his most dangerous weapon and tool.
How long have you been hungry? How long? How long have you been left behind? In the junk heaps of the galaxy fighting over crumbs?
This is how the pirates see themselves, as scorned individuals left behind by the central government that cares very little for people like them. They're desperados, and they're on the run, and this matter is only made worse by the fact that their pictures are plastered over every cantina wall at every port in the galaxy.
We're all hungry! Because credits are scarce! There's never enough!
The fact that mutinies are so common on these pirate vessels supports the fact that most pirates are just not happy and not making enough. And so we have this problem here. We have pirates causing great damage to the local economy, pirates that make it difficult for trade and exports to flourish in local areas, which means that planets in these areas are more isolated and cut off from galactic wealth. You remember in The Mandalorian, when the pirates took over that entire planet, things really went backwards. This in turn creates more poverty in the area and desperation. It's especially hard on independent merchants or smaller transport companies who can easily be wiped out by just one pirate attack. And when those companies, when those ships fail, then their entire crew are out of a job, and a good portion of those crew members are probably going to be forced into piracy, adding to the growing problem of piracy in the regions that are not fully patrolled by the New Republic. And let me tell you something, there are a lot of regions not patrolled by the New Republic. Because of Mon Mothma's fear of authoritarianism returning to the galaxy, a lot of former Imperial worlds, especially in the Outer Rim, were given a choice on whether they wanted to join the Republic or not. And many, like Ryloth, stayed independent because, like the galactic Hungary or Poland of the Star Wars galaxy, they just didn't trust the major powers in the region. And who can blame them? They got screwed by the Republic, by the Empire, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, the Hutt cartels. Every foreign actor that stepped foot on Ryloth ultimately betrayed or exploited the Twi'leks. Sometimes they did both. The point being, you can't really judge how things work in the Outer Rim. It's a different set of rules. There's a wilderness about the region, a lack of civility and tameness. It's a place where ultimate freedom leads to rule by strength and power. Take a look at a planet like Uradu, which became a major economic center in the Outer Rim. This is only because the local Outland region security forces mounted a serious war to destroy the local pirate queen there that controlled the Uradu sector's shipping lanes. It was only through great investment and sacrifice that the people in Uradu were able to free their shipping lanes, and once they did, they started sending Lamite ore to the center of the galaxy, and they soon became one of the richest Outer Rim hubs in the galaxy. A lot of other planets that had the same resources and potential were squeezed to death by this cycle of poverty, which led to piracy, which led only more to poverty. And so when I look at these pirates in Silvo's crew, I see them in the same way that maybe Silvo sees them, or at least tries to see them when he's trying to convince them to do something, and that's as children. I see the individuals that they once were, that were given very limited opportunities where they grew up and were forced into a life of piracy. And I think a lot of these individuals, if they were placed on a different world, would have chose other professions. I feel like Brutus would have still been Brutus. But again, you got guys like Glurp who are clearly dreaming of a more peaceful life.
Imagine if you could buy yourself an entire ocean.
That'd be something.
You look at a government like the New Republic and you have to wonder what were their policies against piracy. It seemed like the New Republic Rangers did hunt them down on the regular. Those X-Wings over Lenopa didn't hesitate to gun down those pirate ships at all, unlike when they pursued the Onyx Cinder when they knew there were kids on board. This no mercy policy from the New Republic is a bit surprising, especially because of their more lax attitude towards security, but I guess it makes sense. They take piracy very seriously, but that's only like half of the equation. As I mentioned before, to truly stop piracy, you have to provide employment opportunities for individuals so that becoming a merchant crewman is worth it, or becoming the owner of your own freighter is a possibility because of economic conditions. In a galaxy where there are thousands and thousands of unexplored planets waiting to be colonized, exploration and the settling of those new planets, the pacification of hostile Xenos there, is the main galactic engine, the driver of growth for whoever's in charge. And so when a central government is unable to encourage this type of growth and provide security for this type of growth, I would say that they've lost their mandate to rule, because a failure to do this creates stagnation and poverty, as we've seen a lot in the Outer Rim. In the long run, you can never stop piracy just by enforcement alone. You can make being a pirate difficult, make it harder for them to stay in one place and relax, run convoy escorts to make their attacks far more costly. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out what the root of the problem is. Why individuals like Glurp is running around in the shipping lanes, hijacking ships instead of just chilling on some ocean and growing some glowweed. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. I'll see you next time.